Hello and welcome to this new tutorial. So it is going to be a little bit the boring tutorial before the big excitement with the race. So let's do that quickly. I'm gonna also provide all the installation instructions in the next tutorial inside an article, but I want to do it in front of you so that you don't miss any detail. So the first step is to download Anaconda. So as you can see, I typed Anaconda in Google search. Then you're going to click on this link, download Anaconda, and then you're going to download the Python 3.7 version and make sure that you get it for your system. But it should be selected automatically, whether you have Windows, macOS, or Linux. I have a macOS, so I am on the right tab, and now you just need to click on download. Alright, so that's the first very easy step. I'm going to get it in 10 seconds, and then we'll install all the packages through the terminal, and I'm going to provide, of course, all the commands. Alright, perfect. Download done. Now you're going to go to your downloads folder or wherever it was downloaded. You're going to click on it, on the file, and here we go. We are installing Anaconda. So then you just need to click on continue, 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 agree, and install for me only, continue, and install. Alright, so it's going to install. I'm going to fast forward because it's going to take a little while. And here we go, the installation is done. So you click continue again, then you can click on close, and then you can choose to keep or not the installation file. So I'm going to choose to keep it. Anyway, that doesn't really matter. And now, so you have Anaconda on your machine, but before we open it, we're going to install all the packages that we'll need to run the full world model and mostly the race. Alright, so what we're going to do now is first, I'm going to open the installation commands that I put on my desktop. So we're going to open this file, which of course I'll provide in the next tutorial inside a text editor. So I'm going to open it in Sublime Text 2, but feel free to open it with any text editor. So here is a Python file which contains in comments, of course, all the installation instructions. And now what we're going to do is open a terminal. So whether you are on Linux, Windows, or Mac, I'm going to explain how to open that. So let's start with Linux users. That's the easiest. You're going to find your terminal either in the left side of your screen or in your main list of applications. Then for Windows users, you're going to go to the lower left corner of your monitor, click the Windows button, then find Anaconda in your list of programs, and then in Anaconda, you're going to click Anaconda prompt. This will open the terminal. And then for Mac users, well, we're going to use that trick. We're going to press Command plus space to open the Spotlight search, and inside we're going to type terminal. Alright, and now we're all aligned in front of our terminal, ready to install all the packages. So here we go. Let's start with the first command. So the first command is actually about creating a virtual environment inside which we're going to install Python 3.6. Because remember, when you installed Anaconda, you actually installed Python 3.7. But Python 3.6 is actually much more compatible with the full world model implementation of this course, and that's why it's better to create that virtual environment with Python 3.6 inside. So let's get the first command. You're going to copy that and simply paste it inside your terminal and then press enter. And in the flashlight, it is going to create a virtual environment which is called Master AI, and here you're just going to press Y and enter to install all these new packages. So we can recognize some of them, Python 3.6, and perfect. Now we have that virtual environment. And now that we installed it, well, we're going to activate it because all the next packages that we're going to install have to be installed in that Master AI virtual environment. But in order to do that, we need indeed to activate that environment. And the way to activate it is just to enter the following command, conda activate Master AI, and press enter. Alright, and now as you can see, we are in the Master AI virtual environment. Alright, so now let's start with the first package to install, of course, TensorFlow. Right, so we're going to install that with the conda command. So let's just copy this, let's paste that here, and let's install TensorFlow, which is going to be the latest version of TensorFlow with all the dependencies needed. So It's going to take a little while, I think, so I'll just fast forward again. Oh, no, actually, already ready. I didn't even have to fast forward. So let's press Y here and press enter. It is going to download and extract all the packages which are basically the dependencies needed for TensorFlow. And as you can see, TensorFlow 1.10.0 will be installed. You might have a later version when you install this, but it should still work. And if it doesn't work, well, what you would simply need to do is just add a double equal here and then 1.10.0 to install this. But you might not even need to do this. Alright, so now we have TensorFlow, perfect. So we're going to install the next one, which is, you might recognize it. It is the package that will install the CMAES evolution strategy, our optimizer. And this is really important, especially if you want to train again the full world model, even if I don't recommend it. But indeed, since this is the optimizer we use, well, let's install this package. Remember, in the code we get our CMAES optimizer by creating an object of the CMAES class, which belongs to that CMA package. Alright, then next one, what is going to be the next one? The next one is going to be the MPI4PY package, and that's just for the game, so that we can play the game on the monitor. So actually we need to install two packages for that, this one and the next one, PyBox2D. So they're going to be installed very easily. Right now we're just solving environment. So now let's press Y and enter. It is downloading and extracting packages, meaning the dependencies that you need to install MPI4PY. And here we go, you have it, perfect. Now, next one, PyBox2D. Alright, so let's copy that again and paste it here. Here we go, enter. So now it is going to install PyBox2D, and we're going to have everything we need to play the car racing game inside the environment. Let's press Y, enter. And again, downloading and extracting all the dependencies, and it should be over very, very soon, in a matter of seconds. Alright, installing SciPy, that's a famous package in Anaconda. And that should be one of the last ones, after which we'll get PyBox2D. Here we go, preparing transaction, verifying transaction, executing transaction, and done. Perfect. Alright, so now almost the last one, we're going to install Pillow. That's again for image processing. So let's paste that here, enter, and I think this one will be installed very fast. Yes, here we go, we have Pillow. And now finally the very important one, Gym, of course, which contains all the environments, basically, and especially the car racing environment. So that's a compulsory one, Gym. Well, they're all compulsory, but this one is very important. Gym, here we go, let's press enter, and it is indeed installed very fast. Perfect. So everything is installed successfully. Now we're going to test that everything works properly, and the way we're going to do this is we're going to open Anaconda. So to open Anaconda, you can find it in your programs for Windows users or applications for Linux and Mac users. I'm going to go to my list of applications. Here it is. I'm going to double click Anaconda Navigator to open it. And then you're going to see that we have one little final thing to do before we launch our final editor. So right now we are in the Anaconda Navigator, and what we want to use, well, you have the choice to use anything you want, any IDE you want. But for those of you interested in using the same IDE as the one I'm using, in Spyder, which is the one we used to code the full world model in the course, well, the little trick that you have to do is, of course, to make sure you're going to connect to that virtual environment we just created. And to do this, well, you're going to go to Applications on, not the base root, but Master AI. Here it is. After you create your Master AI virtual environment in the terminal, you're going to find it here in Applications on. But then you have to install Spyder first, and you can do it directly here by clicking Install, and this is going to install Spyder in just 1 or 2 minutes. You can also do it, by the way, directly in the terminal, but we have the option to do it directly here, so it's easier. Anyway, now we're ready to launch Spider inside the Master AI virtual environment. And we're just going to do a test. I'm just going to execute the full code just to make sure everything works properly. But then we're not going to do the race now. We're going to do that in the next tutorial, just to keep the best for the end. All right, so to test everything here, we're going to go to File Explorer. Then you're going to go to the desktop in which you put the AI Masterclass full folder of the course. I put it in my desktop. Here it is, AI Masterclass. Then you're just going to go to the inference folder, and then you're just going to take the full world model, because that's what you have to execute to run the whole full world model and, of course, to run the race. All right, so as I told you, I'm just going to test that everything works. Remember that I installed everything from scratch, just like you, so I'm just making sure that this was only what we needed to make this work. So here we go now. For Mac users, you're going to press Command plus Enter to execute, and for Linux and Windows users, you're going to press Control plus Enter. Are you ready? Here we go. All right, so it seems to be working okay. Right, TensorFlow is launching on CPU, and here we go. This is working really well, and right now this is the AI playing, but I'll keep the surprise for what's going to happen in the next tutorial. So I'm going to close this, restart the kernel, and now I'll see you in the next tutorial for the very final AI versus HI competition. Until then, enjoy AI.